left it. Got it. Hi, everyone on YouTube. Nice to be together as usual. What's happening? Today we're discussing, actually, let me just unmute this for Zoom. How do I get back to my Zoom? There it is. Hi, everybody. And Baruch, you can help me admit people, please. And I'm going to hit this record. Yeah, we got it. Okay, everyone. So shalom. Back from a Medicaid. And the truth is, in retrospect, I probably should have kept this class going while I was in America, but I didn't. I'm sorry. I was kind of busy. But I'm back in Israel. It's Sunday, my first day back. I got here Friday and had an amazing Shabbos. And today I went hiking in the desert, which was very beautiful. Hey, David Hirsch, how you doing? I'll just, this is my first full day back, but I'll show you where I just came from. It was quite beautiful. Where do I come from? Just to show you, a half-hour drive from Jerusalem is right here. Let's find a good shot. Half-hour drive from Jerusalem is here. The desert. It's my brother-in-law climbing up. Literally a half hour from my house. Can you imagine that? And I was back in a half hour. Like, we did this amazing loop to my brother-in-law. And just some of the cliffs there. There's my wife climbing up the ladder from down below. And she looks up at one point and says hello. So half hour from town. Only in the Holy Land can you be in the bustle of Jerusalem with the amazing nightlife and spirituality going on everywhere, and excitement and action, and half hour away, you're in the middle of nowhere, just meditating in the desert. So beautiful. Anyway, today what we're talking about is integrity. A lot of people think integrity, means you're a good person. But there's actually a definition, and it comes from, if you think about the word, you don't need to know much more. And the word is to integrate, integrate. What does it mean to integrate? Well, right now my computer's integrating my camera. So I'm showing up across the world because of integrity, meaning there's integration of my camera. It's going to your screen. And your screen's integrated with your camera. And there's also integrity in if I hook up my phone to my car stereo, now my car stereo will integrate the entire phone. So I play a song, and now suddenly the stereo's amplifier, the stereo's the speaker system, the wires, everything works for my phone now. My phone's now been integrated into it. If you find a shoplifter who can't keep his hands off, products in people's stores, and you sit him down and you discuss with him the importance of not stealing and how important it is, and all the social breakdown, and you explain it with like real thorough explanation about not stealing. And the guy finally says, you know what, I got it. And he repeats it all back, and he says, that's it. He's even crying. He's like, I'll never steal again. Like I got it. Don't steal, And then, a week later, you're looking at the surveillance camera in your market, and you see him put the ding dongs into his coat pocket and walks out. So what does he lack? And the answer is he lacks integrity. Why? Because he knows, he explained to you that it's forbidden to steal. He gets that. Yet here he is stealing. So it's like, make up your mind, And the answer is that he lacks integrity. So integration is knowing is integrating who you are with what you know. Integrating what you are with who you know. There was a famous story of Bertrand Russell. Bertrand Russell was an ethicist in I think I don't know what country, maybe in England. And he was, he was known, he was an ethics professor and like kind of the go-to for morality and stuff. And but meanwhile, he was an adulterer. He wouldn't stay faithful. And so people came up to him and said, you're an ethicist, like, aren't you supposed to do the right thing? You're not faithful to your wife. And he said to them, if I were a geometry professor, would I have to be a triangle? And that was his pithy and funny way of saying that just because I say something doesn't mean I got to do it. And in Judaism, we say that if you're a geometry professor, you do have to be a triangle. So don't be a geometry. If you're not willing to be a triangle, don't be a geometry professor, because you should be a triangle. You should be what you believe. You should be what you know. Live what you know. And that's called integrity. Now, of course, and honestly, human beings are, we can surprise ourselves by breaching our integrity. We can do the wrong thing sometimes. And that's like, it's part of the nature of man is mankind, or humankind, as they would say today. It's part of the nature of humankind is that we have, we have a pull away from doing what's right, and to lose our integrity, to do the wrong thing. But that doesn't make it right. You understand? And there's a difference between doing the wrong thing and making it right. We live in a society today that wants to say you don't need personal integrity, and we're even going to undermine it being right or wrong. I years ago I was in Manhattan. There's like a story going back like 20 years. David, you doing yoga during our class? Yeah, or you at least getting in yoga position? Okay, you're making me jealous. I got to only do my 10-minute version today. Anyway, I took you to my mikveh over there, the hot pool and everything. Yeah. So anyway, check this out. I'm sitting in Manhattan it was a trip where my schedule was too tight to see all my loved ones in Manhattan, like dear students. It was before I had reached out to the Brooklyn community and all the Black Hatitude world. This was when, my nearest, dearest of students were all, these really chill Balchuvas in the Upper West Side in Manhattan. And they're all still there, most of them. Anyway, and we're still in touch. But that trip, I just didn't have time to meet up with anyone. I had a packed schedule. So you know what I did? I said to everybody, I said, let's just meet for lunch. I'm inviting all of you to eat lunch with me. So we went to Deli Kasbah, and we're sitting at Deli Kasbah, and we had a big booth and a bunch of us sitting around, and there was a guy next to me in the booth against the wall and a couple of people around. Anyway, so we all meet up, and the guy sitting on my left, I got to speak to everyone a little bit, but the guy sitting on the left, he's sitting a little closer, and so he explains to me that he's now, I don't know how to say this without getting thrown off YouTube. That let's just say he no longer likes women. How's that? And am I allowed to say that on YouTube? Yeah. Okay. He doesn't like women anymore. And I look at him and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's everyone's got their test, And I was nice to him, and it's fine. Everyone's got a test. And then he says, but I don't really believe in Judaism anyway. Meaning I don't really believe in God and Torah anyway. So when he tells me he doesn't, so when he tells me I don't believe in God or Judaism anyway, so you know what I did? I body slam him into the wall next to him, and I start punching him in the ribs. And everyone at the table is like, what is going on here? And I'm just like, wham, 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 wham. And I'm just slamming this guy. I'm like, I didn't break his ribs, but I was almost breaking his ribs. And he says, so I finally cool down, and he says, I tell you that, he says, I tell you that I'm gay, and you're like, okay, everyone's got a test in life, He says, but I explained to you why, saying that I don't really believe in God, I don't really believe in Torah, whatever, and you attack me. And I said to him, listen, as long as you're doing the wrong thing, meaning as long as you want to break the Torah, you want to break the Torah, but don't take God out of the picture. Don't make it right. If you want to do the wrong thing, do the wrong thing. Don't make it right. Now, this is a very white boy thing to do, this guy did. Meaning it's very Ashkenazi to take God out of the picture. Why? Do you know what a Sephardi person does? A Sephardic person from Middle Eastern, tradition. You know what they do if they do the wrong thing? You know what they do? They feel guilty. Yeah, they feel guilty. And then they donate, an extra wing to the synagogue. They donate the lunches at the yeshiva or something. Like they assuage their guilt, but they don't make it right. People of Sephardic tradition, they're not going to throw God out. Whereas Ashkenazim are going to use the brain they got them, that God gave them, and do the mental acrobatics to knock God out of the equation, so they can feel better about themselves. If you're feeling guilty, so that God put inside us guilt so that we'd have so we'd use our compass. You breached your inner compass. You breached the contract within your heart, the compass that God put inside each one of us to find truth and to live it. And you breached that, whatever your truth is, but you breached it. Now you feel guilty. Well, okay, so guilt. Where do you find guilt? Where do you find guilt in Darwinism or the theory of evolution? We're the people adapted to feel terrible about ourselves. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You get what I'm saying? Like, that makes no sense. In fact, the opposite. We're more likely to survive if we'll be moral and take care of one another, for example. It's like, anyway, but the guilt is a very important and not to be taken for granted. It's a built-in part of having a soul. Someone who feels no guilt is someone who has no soul. But one way out of guilt, which is this Ashkenazi European move, for those who are not Jewish listening, Ashkenazi means all the white Jews, European Jews, because Ashkenaz is the name of in the Bible for Western Europe, specifically the Germanic areas, but a big swath of land, including France and Italy and Rome. Anyway, so it's very interesting. What's the difference? Why, if you're of Middle Eastern descent, you're Sephardic, you just build a new wing for the synagogue when you did something really stupid? And why, if you're Ashkenazi, you get rid of God? Why is that? What's the breakdown? They're both Jewish. They're both feeling guilty. Why does one choose to get rid of God? So the answer is that by the way, I don't know the answer, but my theory is that Sephardic Jews have been living with believers for the last 2,000 years, and some even more. If they didn't come back for the Second Temple, they're 2,500 years in living amongst believers who pray 5 times a day, i.e., Muslims. Now they were living amongst pagans, but the last, however many years, 1,200 years, they've been living amongst Muslims who pray 5 times a day. But they're all believers. Greek culture, ancient Western culture, was atheist by nature. They were not into God at all and stayed that way. Now you might say, well, yeah, the Christians and stuff, but it's really hard to believe that the Christians were really the Christians. Today you'll have Christians who are Christians, but most of Christianity, if you look at its history, was just what was it called? The Holy Roman Empire. Like, make up your mind: are you a religion or you're an empire? The answer is you're the Holy Roman Empire. Well, the Roman Empire means, basically mowing down whole countries and civilizations in the name of expansion. Oh, add the word holy, and now you got your own crusade, which later became the Crusades. But it was land grabs. You understand? It was wipe out every man, woman, and child who's Jewish and grab their land. And so I don't know if you call that believers. That's like the ultimate getting rid of your guilt. And I'm not going to get into their theology about people dying for your sins, as if that's possible, that you are no longer accountable to your own sins. It's like, we're not going to get into that. But the bottom line is that the Sephardic Jews lived with believers, and so they're not really willing to get rid of God with their guilt, whereas the Ashkenazim will just do with the philosophy. They live with 2,000 years of philosophers, 2,000 years living with philosophical people who use their brain to get rid of God. The brain God gave them, they'll get rid of God. And so the Ashkenazim did this, they do this little rigmarole to get rid of God. Now, integrity means that you live your truth. I just did that. That was a long chapter on guilt. I don't know why I did that exactly, because today we're talking about integrity. It's part of it, because when you don't keep your integrity, and why is it you'd breach your own integrity? And the answer is because you have an inclination towards darkness. Now, by the way, I'll go a little more. Why David, why do you have an inclination towards darkness? And the answer is because God loves you. Well, if he loved me, he'd take it away. No, it's because he loves you. What do you mean he loves me? Tell me, would you have any reward without it? Would there be any reward for this world, for this life, if you didn't have a pull away from God? You have to have the pull away in order that you have so in order to leap forward, you have to have something pulling you back. And the reward of choice. What is the unique thing about being human? The answer is free will. Without free will, we're just upright animals. And free will means I got a soul voice and I got a body voice. A soul voice and a body voice. And the soul voice says, do the right thing. And the body voice says, do the expedient thing. Do what you feel like now. Do what you want. And that's the body voice. The soul voice says, wait. The soul voice says, postpone gratification to make sure you're doing things right. That's the soul voice. And so we have to know how to play both. We have to know how to work both, and use the body voice for the soul. So let's say I've got a lot of strong urge for food. So have the nicest foods at your Shabbos table, on the day that it's easiest to raise them up. So have all your favorite foods at your Shabbos table. or make blessings on it, like, but make special blessings on it, and then use the energy of your food for the good. So, I asked my wife for burritos tonight. I don't know if we're getting burritos because it's kind of prep intensive with all the chopping of everything, but hopefully we're getting some burritos. Anyway, but I love burritos. And well, I'm going to go eat those burritos and I'm going to raise them up. I'm going to turn the chicken in the burritos. It was a chicken. Now it's going to be a Jew. And that chicken's about to become Yom Tov. Yeah. And chicken Yom Tov. You ever had chicken Yom Tov? So later tonight, Chesky, maybe you'll have chicken Chesky. Okay. And now the chicken's Chesky. And you go do mitzvahs with that. Now, chickens can't do mitzvahs, but yes, they can if you take your animal instinct and you eat it and raise it up. This is why the covenant was put where it was on a man's body, because it's all about raising, it's transmutating the animal instinct for the spirit. And then why would God do that? I mean, it's kind of a strange, isn't that a little bit of a strange place for a covenant? Yeah. It's like, if you wanted to make a covenant, you should have done it with our earlobe or something, at least something everyone can see. But no, God puts it, because the way God must have known the song New York, New York. If you can make it there, you'll make it anywhere. Yeah, it's up to you, New York, New York. That if you can make it there in your most passionate desire, your most animalistic desire, that you literally share that with, like, stray cats. so you, like, if you can get control over that for God, so then everything else is, you can make it there, you can make it anywhere, everything else is a downhill cruise. So anyway, let's go back. So integrity is integrating what you know with who you are. And if I know what the right thing to do is, so living with integrity means doing it, like actually aligned with truth. Align yourself with truth. And more, you found out something else was true. Okay. Align yourself with that. Align yourself with that. Align yourself with that. Keep aligning yourself with truth. I remember when I was so young and dumb, but it was so cute what I did. I couldn't learn Torah very well yet because I'd only been in Esha Torah in yeshiva for, like, how long was that? It was a while. And maybe I was there almost a year, but I couldn't learn all Torah all night. I just didn't have the skill sets to learn Torah all night. So it's the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai. So what did I do? So I got a little book that listed all of the 613 mitzvahs. And what I did was, throughout the night, I read each mitzvah, studied a little bit about it, and then I said, I commit to this, that this is true. I basically said, I do. Like I'm getting married, I do. Yeah. Then I flipped the page and I read the next one. So I said, I do. The next page, I do. I did that for all 613 commandments, all night long, on Shavuos. And I couldn't study like everyone else, but I could say I do to all the commandments. And anyway, but living it is living with integrity. So I'd like to talk about different levels of integrity. And what it means is, like, how emistic you are. The word emes is truth, and then you add a Yiddish, the word emesdik means that you are truthful. You live with truth, emesdik. So there's different ways of being emistic. I think that all of us have certain things that we have integrity no matter what. Like, for example, David on this, who's been doing some stretching and stuff. We've also done intensive yoga together when he was visiting Jerusalem. And I don't think either of us really skip a day. We may not do intensive every day, but there's not a day where there's not stretching involved. And that's integrity, because we know you want to live into your old age in a way that your body's cooperating, or you want to live in your old age where your body goes against you. Which one you want. So I'll go with the cooperating body, please. And so I always do some body work every day. And that's integrity. Now, do I have the luxury? If you do it every day, do you have the luxury to miss a day? Yeah. Yeah. And you can stay in your integrity because you'll miss a day. You're not going to miss 2 days. And core work, I do every third day. Every third day, I'll do a lot of core work and keep my core strong. It's got to hold up my whole body. And we live in sedentary lifestyles today. So we're not lifting vegetables up into a basket all day long, as we walk along our fields. We are, we're sitting in cars, we're sitting in traffic, we're sitting at desks, we're sitting in studios. If we're not building strength, so then we're basically taxing our bodies and causing connective tissue to bear weight, which you're never allowed to do. You can't let ligaments or any part of your skeleton bear weight. But anyone who doesn't work out is causing his non-weight bearing parts of his body to bear weight. And that's forbidden to do. It's basically a formula for chronic pain later in life. God created every single creature with musculature to bear weight, and the human being also has their muscles to bear weight. But what if you don't have muscles? So then your skeleton and your connective tissue bear the weight, and especially people who are heavier, all the more so need to work out because there's just automatic weight bearing that's going on, and you gotta build those muscles. Now, core muscles don't come very easy for people who sit a lot. That you just got to do. So that's integrity. Now, I'm not sure if all of you have the integrity to do this, but I think everyone here probably brushes their teeth. Yeah, and that takes integrity. Now, how do you maintain it? How do you have it? Because all it takes is a toothache or a root canal or a dentist hitting your gums with a needle one too many times, and you're just like, I think I'll just brush. I'm just going to brush my teeth. And that's integrity. All of us sleep at night, at least, hopefully, the right hours. And that's integrity. Because you don't sleep, your immune system's going to tank. All of us eat a few meals a day. It's integrity. So we're all kind of we're all into truth in some level or another in our daily activities, because of the consequence of not being into truth is too dear. And so we live with integrity. Now, there's a higher level of integrity, which we started this whole class with, and that is that you do the right things. That's a higher level of integrity, where you start breaking things down into right or wrong, and good and bad. Like, it's the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do. So that's going to be good, that's going to be bad. So breaking things into good and bad is a super important part of integrity. And then there's the level of integrity of, it also connects a bit to health. I like to call it, I love you, I hate you integrity, is that if you're created in the image of God and you're involved in behavior that's I hate you behavior, for example, not calling home, holding on to resentment, health, ignoring your own personal health, that's all I hate you behavior. And so someone with integrity would treat himself as if he's someone worth caring for, to quote Jordan Peterson's title of one of his chapters of the book, 12 Rules for Life. He says, treat yourself as if you're someone worth caring for. And in the beginning of that chapter, he talks about how they figured out statistically that people are more likely to remember to give their dog medicine than themselves. So treat yourself as if you're someone worth caring for. But then there's even a higher level of integrity, and that's the integrity of living the truth of how awesome you are, meaning you're awesome, and live that way. When we see people who we think are awesome, you see them online, or you see them, whatever. I don't know who your heroes are, but when you see your heroes, so you see they're living it, man. They're like, they fully accept their gifts. Like, for example, right now is the Winter Olympics in our new best friend, China, and they're in the middle of the Olympics, and these people they're not, the skiers, let's say the downhill skiers, they're not saying, nah. You tell someone, yeah, play us a song, sing us a song. Nah. They're not saying, nah. They're saying, yeah. And they're jumping on those skis and they're flying down those mountains, and they're like, they get off, the gymnasts get off and make a big V for victory when they finish, when they dismount off whatever they jump off, and they're saying, yeah, I'm awesome. And they're living it, the training, the performance, they're totally they're in full integrity, at least about how good they are at that sport, that they're in full integrity. So in the end, really, all of us are created in the image of God. And, God doesn't make garbage. You're awesome. If we could put jumper cables up to your earlobes, we can power all of North America. You're amazing. And given that you're amazing means to live it. That's integrity. And if you are self-effacing, then you're going exactly against the integrity of who you are, who God creates you to be. So it's so important that you live with the integrity of being amazing. So we spoke about health being amazing. We spoke about doing the right thing. We talk about health with integrity. We spoke about doing the right thing with integrity. We spoke about saying I love you versus I hate you in integrity. And now we took it to the last level. Now is having integrity for how awesome you are, that God makes you awesome, and to live it every day. Like, you're amazing. You got this. You got this. I won't say I got this. I got this. You are awesome. And now I'm not going to go deep into it. Maybe tomorrow we'll touch on it, but there's certain things and people and circumstances and various things that trigger us for not being awesome. Things that like remind us about stuff we're willing to say about ourselves. But we're not going to go into that right now, especially because I've got these burritos waiting for me. I'm just kidding. My brother-in-law is leaving Israel at 8, and I think it is, I don't even know what time. Oh, I have a watch. Yeah. Ich darf gehen. I gotta go. But I want to take questions. I always take questions. So let's do that real quick. And also my jet lag's like kicking in. I'm so tired right now. Someone said Sephardic Mizrahi Jews had no reform movement until the time period closer to the Holocaust. In the time period, someone says, in the time period of the Rambam, some Muslims became more secular, and this affected Jews in those countries. The Rambam helped save those communities. Okay, that's interesting. And then I'm going to check YouTube real quick. All those YouTubers, let's check those comments. How do I get there? I got to minimize this one here. Zoom. Where's my minimize? Do I have to change my view? Exit full screen. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna get to YouTube real quick. Never mind. Let's see. I don't really know how to use computers. I'm a little embarrassed. I've never owned a computer, and so let's see if I can minimize that. Anyone know on how to do this? Oh, maybe it's here. Hey, I found YouTube. Okay, let's see if we got any comments on YouTube. No comments. Okay, that's cool. Oh, just a couple guys saying shalom. Shalom to you guys. Okay, blessings, everybody. I love you all. Be well. And we'll see you tomorrow. I'm gonna next week. I'm probably gonna go a little earlier on the hour because I have to teach at 7 p.m. across Jerusalem. And right now it's 7 p.m. But now all I have to do is eat burritos. But next week is the possible you in Jerusalem. Shalom, everybody. All the best. Blessings.